Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just was curious, obviously when we've been building the freshwater biodiversity platform, and with Rwanda, we've had a lot of discussions about data sharing, and I guess in the approach with like the Quack platform, you can pretty much grab any data you want. Could you just clarify if there, like, what your thought processes were, how you sort of arrived where you came to in terms of what gets shared and who gets to consume what data from the platform? That's probably for Michael, I think.
Yeah, all of the in our FITS projects for Quack, SABIP2, they are all open content data, part of UCT's open content platform. So we encourage the use of the data. We don't have any restrictions on it other than acknowledgement and citation. We do host data for other countries, like we have Kenya Bird Map and the Nigeria Bird Map, and now the bigger African Bird Atlas project. There, we will not serve that data until we have an open content commitment from those countries. But for SABIP2 and Quack, it is open content.
Did you degrade the, because are you still working on quarter degree squares? I didn't actually download the link you shared yet. But do you sort of, well, like, I guess the sort of the concern with the fish, for example, is that people would be poaching or collecting, organisms, and especially for the rare and endangered, there was a lot of debate about whether it should be shared or not. But I think the eventual conclusion was that that there should be some screening process. And I'm just wondering how you arrived at the point to be sharing everything openly for birds, and if you didn't have those same concerns.
Okay, for Quack data, we share the point. We don't have specific point locations. We have the center point of the wetland itself. And for SABIP2, we are only sharing it at a pentad level, which is 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers. Mm-hmm. So we're not serving, we didn't deem it to be serving accurate enough data to warrant any concerns.
Okay, thanks.
Right, thanks, Michael. Thanks, Tim, for your question. I think next we can jump over into the chat. We've had a question from Matthew. I'll just read it out so everybody knows the question, which is, he's curious that it was a bit about the big focus on API issues and statistical analyses. Will applicability of the pipeline data be discussed in greater detail in terms of how it is used to respond to the stakeholder needs? While data analysis is important in its own right, it would seem important to respond to policy needs as well, so that the data can be relevant to conservation and land use decision making. Would any of the presenters like to comment on that? Nancy.
Thanks. I'll start, and then I'll ask Andrew to also help, and then any of the other team. But just to say, so you're just seeing kind of the engine room of the project was presented today, but there's equal weighting for the other components, and those will play out over the course of the project. But we are including our users right from the start. So I think, as you saw, we've got our Ramsar, migratory birds teams, we've got our DWS colleagues. We've already had user needs meetings with them, and the site managers fully engaged from the start as well. So we weren't presenting that today, and equally we kind of not presenting the heart of Andrew's work that's already in developing indicators for reporting. We work with policy needs kind of as part of our work at SANB. So we'd love nothing better than to respond to your question with another webinar presentation a bit later, if you'll invite us back, and maybe we could flip around, and but so you saw the engine room today, but that doesn't mean we will give less weight to the full chain, pulling it all the way through. So I see Andrew's ready to add to that. Thanks.
Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, even in an email that I wrote to Nancy yesterday when we were discussing the presentation, you know, I said like the really cool stuff is making sense of the bird data and the interaction with managers and interaction with the mandate focal points. By that I mean Ramsar and OWIA and that kind of bunch. And seeing if we can serve both these very different user groups. So with all of this biodiversity monitoring work that we're involved in, whether you are on the more technical academic side, really trying to understand the data, making proper statistical inference, or whether you are a focal point who's now tasked with meeting this reporting mandate for Ramsar, or you SANBI, who sits like in this different middle space where we're trying to basically make biodiversity data available to a range of users. So this is why this project's really cool. It's the whole basis of the project is user driven. There are hundreds of users of SABAP and QUAC data for academic purposes, which must be encouraged to further our understanding of those trends for those species. But what we really are trying to do is bring that data into the life of high-level monitoring and site-level monitoring, and it's surprisingly not that common. And I think that's what the whole freshwater biodiversity system that Helen and Jem and them have built is also built around, is that concept of taking the data and bridging the gap to users. So it's not that easy, but we've got a real focus on those two different types of users. And yeah, we'll love to give a talk specifically on that and the dynamics of that and what can be achieved.
Cool. Thanks, Andrew. And I think it would be really nice to do another presentation on some of that, some of those elements of the project as well. I think they're really interesting for the community in this series, and yeah, we might just hold you to that, so watch out. All right. Any other questions for the presenters? Astrid? Don't see a yellow hand next to your name. That's unusual.
I'm sorry. I asked my question already.
Okay, yeah, you did quite correct. Nancy.
Jeremy, can I also add, so also just Reza's worked with us in the past year or so on kind of a user-friendly guidance, kind of feeding back into for the citizen scientists that are doing the monitoring. So again, to develop robust data that can be used into these statistical analyses and can be used for trends. So we kind of see that as a supporting output, influencing the citizen scientists in the data collection side of things. And also from this, I foresee we'll see gaps, we'll see important sites that might be missed, that we might recommend, new sites to be included. So I think there's kind of quite a few extra, things that will arise from the work that we've listed that we'd like to kind of look to during the course of the project. Thanks.
I think Andrew and then Francis, if I'm correct. Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks. I've just got almost a question the other way around. In now that Helen and Tim and others and yourself have seen kind of what we are envisaging, because a lot of this is very exploratory at this stage. I'm quite interested in exploring the interoperabilities and how those connections between systems would work. Did any light bulbs go off, or did any warning signs go off with you guys? And having seen what you've seen today, things that could form the basis of some interactions between us with kind of a relationship to FBIS kind of topic. Yeah,
I think it's been great to see, overwhelming and really impressive to see how much data there are for wetland birds, and how, of course, how well suited citizen science is to these kinds of data sets. And yeah, in the next phase of the FBRIS project, as you alluded to, there's going to be a new focus on wetland biodiversity data, not birds per se, other elements of the wetland biodiversity for starters. But of course, there's huge value and huge sense in linking those different types of data sets. And I think it's awesome that these two projects are happening in parallel at the same time. And I think that's going to have to, we're very much at the start of this next phase for the FBRIS project. So it's really great to see this early on. And I think it's a really great conversation starter. And I think the word interoperability is the key there. And how can we get these data to sing together? These wetland bird data, there'll be wetland invertebrate data, there'll be all sorts of data, and that's where the real impact and the value lies. So yeah, I would say light bulbs going off. Helen, I'm not sure if you'd like to add anything before we move on.
Sorry, Jem, I can't see where to raise my hand. For some reason it's disappeared before we move on, but Helen, I think go first and then I'll jump in there as well, please.
Yeah, thanks guys for a great presentation. I definitely see the synergies between the systems, and second Jeremy's, that it's great that they're working, the timelines are kind of the same. And in the FBRIS system now, with work that we've done with Rwanda, Cartosa and the Wonder developers, Demos in particular, have created a lot of functionality to allow not only linking via APIs, but also ingesting or uploading new modules. So I don't see if there was a potential or a need from your side to also visualize the bird data, in FBRIS. I mean, that wouldn't be a difficult thing to do in any way. We just need to have those conversations and see, where we can work best together. And one of the things that I think we would very much benefit from your expertise, in particular, Andrew and Nancy, is in terms of the aggregating indices that you see, that obviously will be developed as part of this project, but how that can be rolled over and benefited into FBRIS as well. So, and again, as Jeremy alluded to, it is part of the next phase, is to kind of make more of the end, the end pipeline is how do we fit it into the NBA, how do we fit it into the EIA assessments, etc. So I'm really looking forward to sitting down in either an online space or a physical space, if COVID allows, and thrashing that out and putting our heads together.
Thanks, Helen. I'm not sure. Okay, I can see Tim's hand is up there.
Hugo can go first, it's fine.
It was Hugo. Okay, I thought so. Go for it, Hugo.
Thanks so much, Jeremy. I don't know, I've got loads of reactions here, but it's all hand claps and smiley faces. I can't see the raise hand, but anyway. Yeah, just from our side, the Association for Water and Rural Development, we have the Inwards Biosmart is the project's name, project running, and our primary focus is on the management of the drivers of change, and basically more kind of hydrology, water quality, and meeting the resource quality objectives, and ultimately therefore conserving biodiversity. I mean, it'll be really cool to work with you guys to see how we can bring in your data, like we have also with the FBRIS, with the FRC guys, and how we can get the water resource managers actually interacting with this data, in terms of not just monitoring, but also managing the system, be it through, assessing the water use licenses before approving it and taking into account the wetland bird species, be it the way in which they're released from dams or the way in which the rivers are managed. So yeah, just from our side, I mean, it would be really great if we could, follow up with a further discussion on how we could work together. Our main focus is on the Limpopo water management area, the Olifantshataba water management area, and then also the Nkomati water management area. And yeah, Nancy is part of our steering committee, so she's well aware of us as well. Great, thanks.
Thanks, Hugo. Yeah, I can definitely see some synergies emerging there for sure. Tim.
Yes, thanks. And again, just congrats for all the various presentations. Really interesting to see all the different effort and work and ideas that you've got. And one thing for me that is really interesting is the part that we don't really have yet, which is the sort of the insights from the platform. We have it in terms of producing dashboards and the SAS scores and so on, but I think there's a lot more. I should have rather said, rather than not having it, but a lot more that we could be pulling out of FRC. And I would love to collaborate with the work that you're doing in the various presentations to see what, if any, of that kind of data insight, statistics, and sort of interpretation of the data set as a whole, we could be ultimately bringing into FBIS, or hooking out to an API to pull in those insights, or whatever the case may be. So I think it's I think there are a lot of things we could be doing. For example, in the quality control workflows you showed, we just looking for outliers, statistical outliers, or outliers from machine learning, processes, or whatever the case may be, that would help us just further our shall I say, unstinting resolve to have a good quality database, as well as a well-populated database, and also then to get the maximum insight out of the database rather than just having it as a data store. So it's more of a commentary than a direct question, but it would be great to identify places where these kind of statistical data analysis workflows could be somehow used on FBIS as well.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah. That just sounds really exciting, and yeah, just such an exciting time for adding value to these data sets that have been building up over the years, and for collaborating. I don't see any hands up, so I'll throw a question or two out there. I'm thinking a little bit about these citizen science, driven data sets and their coverage, and the potential for doing similar things beyond South Africa. And I think hand in hand with that is like the sustainability of doing these kinds of, modeling these kinds of data sets to give greater insights into what's going on with wetland birds. So I guess my question is, have you, in the Birdie project, have you guys given much thought into scaling this kind of thing up into other areas where these kind of data are available? And how easy do you think it would be to transfer? I mean, it's such early days with developing the models and developing the analyses and all that, and the pipelines, I get that. But is there going to be scope in the future to transpose this into other areas? And is that going to be a sustainability nightmare, or is the plan to do it in such a way that it's going to be a sustainability pleasure?
Yeah, I can have a go at trying to answer that. So we are partnering with people in Kenya. So they've got the Kenya bird map, which uses the SABAP protocol essentially. So we should be able to use occupancy models on those data as well. And because the data collection protocol is very similar, it should be relatively straightforward. And other countries as well are using the same protocol. So that's going to help us, because then we can just basically, hopefully just roll out the methods. When in other countries, data are often a little bit more sparse than here. So we need to see how that goes. But in principle, it should be okay. And Kenya is really our sort of next, or our immediate partners, where we are trying out the methods in maybe less data-rich situations. So that's the SABAP, or the bird map type of data. And then the Kenyans also have got water bird counts, and and there we could use the state space models. So I must say the state space models need relatively long data sets. So if you've only got like 2 or 3 counts, then it won't work. But yeah, but over time, and maybe also in response to Tim, I think, you know, those, for example, if you've got time series, then I think those state space models are quite attractive, because you don't, like, a lot of people are just estimating a trend by fitting a linear line, but trends are never linear over a very long time. So what we can do is really to look at the changes in trends from one year to the next, or from one time step to the next. And I think that really makes it a lot more powerful when you're thinking about attributing those changes to external drivers. Yeah, I'm not sure, Jeremy, whether that answers your question.
Yeah, I can also just add to that quick. Kenya has started uploading their wetland data into the Quack system. So we'll be able to, once we get permission, be able to pull those straight into the pipeline as is. And one of their sites, the Sabika river mouth, has got 84 counts loaded up already. So that would be a nice site to actually start exploring with the pipeline systems.
That's great to hear. And yeah, thanks, Rez. That gives good perspective. I mean, I just know that these birds obviously don't obey the boundaries of countries. So to be able to, expand some of these, assessments easily would be a huge advantage. And it sounds like there's a lot of potential for that, which is really cool. There's still 2 hands up from Tim and Francis, but I'm not sure if those are old hands.
No, for me, it's Francis. Just adding to what Rez is saying in scalability and upscaling, it's also just the approach that what we are using is open source, and it's just in the process of developing it. It's, let's say, try to be as modular as possible as well. So if we're using this analysis at this point where we're plugging it in, if it's a state space model or an occupancy model, so then we can get ultimately, let's say, different flavors of what you want as an output, just depending on indeed what is the user need, or what are if you go into a stakeholder conversation. But that's I think the power in this project is indeed that there is this statistical analysis, which is something that we're starting now with from the front, because it's something that needs time to look at, to develop, but also to make it into something that's going fast, let's say, if you want to do these analyses. And that's, that needs a lot of, let's say, technical setup, but always taking into mind that it should be always possible to upscale it and just have that transparency of what we are doing. Just also putting things on GitHub, etc. We'll be providing all that information for other people to use. Because what I've experienced as well in the stakeholder meetings we had, that people are also very keen on just doing things themselves. That's why we also want these APIs, and through this project had the opportunity to build them better, what Michael already has been doing and will be even improving. So that's also even for students that we now got experience with, that are really looking forward to using that data that we are now, it's open already, as Michael said. Now we want to push it a little bit further and have it through these APIs and documented APIs on the dashboard. But we will also get more users to make use of it. Well, that's what I wanted to add.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's thanks, Francis. That's really that's really exciting. Exciting to hear about that. Anyone from Kenya want to have any reactions to that? I know Ciro's in the house. Okay. All right. I suspect we may be winding down towards the end of our discussion for today. Any final questions before we draw to a close? Nancy, would you like to leave us with some pearls of wisdom?
No, I just wanted to say thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I mean, it's as you know, it's the beginning of the project. And yeah, I think we would, yeah, so it'd be great to have the opportunity to come back and show you as the project unfolds. And I think it was great to show the technical component and yeah, our one opportunity to interact with the statisticians amongst you and show what's happening behind the scenes. Yeah, we'll bring some of our users into the next round. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Nancy. Okay, if there's no further comments or questions, I think we can call it a day for today. And I just like to thank all the presenters and also all the participants. I think this has been one of our best attended sessions so far. So thanks for everybody who's attended from all around Africa, overseas as well. And yeah, we'll be getting the talks up online on YouTube probably early next week. So thanks very much, everyone.